Let me start recording. So if you remember, we were talking about if you're developing a REST API, REST application, then you also have to provide the documentation along with the REST API provision. So that based upon your documentation, your consumer will understand how to make a call to your REST application. For example, let's say you are a payment service. So you have to provide a REST endpoints where you are saying, hey, whenever you are asking me to make a payment, you have to pass me the credit card number, CVV number, expiry date, and the name on the card. So these are the parameters you're supposed to pass me. So these information supposed to come from the producer or whoever is a REST API owner. Okay, so it was a boring task writing a non-technical things from a developer. I told you it's boring. So developer has introduced one API, one framework, I can say, one library, I can say, called Swagger. So Swagger is mainly for REST API documentation purpose. And to enable the Swagger inside your application, you just need to add a couple of dependencies. Okay. On the top of that, you also have to maintain one Swagger configuration where you will be talking about what are the informations to whom contact if something is went wrong, etc., etc. Okay, so we'll talking about that. But if you remember, I told you Swagger is internally using the interceptor. Interceptor is nothing but whenever your request is coming to your particular controller, before reaching to controller, if you want to execute some particular logic, then interceptor is coming in picture. Similarly, when your response is going back to the client, and if you want to perform some sort of operation, some sort of business logic, then interceptor is coming in picture. I also told you that interceptor is nothing but it is a servlet filter, and filter is mainly used within the between the client request and the server response. So this is what we have talked about in last class. Interceptor was one of the interesting things you're supposed to know, because many times we need a situation where we need to write a interceptor. Let's move ahead with the Swagger. So what I'm gonna do is I have one very simple application, Swagger application, having at the rate of a Spring Boot application, nothing much. But before that, I would like to show you the pom.xml file where I have added the dependencies related to Swagger. So these are the dependency we have added for Swagger. So after adding these three dependency, you have to write one configuration for this. So first step, add the dependency. Second step, create one Swagger configuration. And how that Swagger configuration looks like, this is the class. Okay. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, sir. Yes, sir. Nice.
Okay.
I was just about to type.
Well, so in this configuration, we have to put couple of annotation. The one annotation is, you must be familiar, we have used almost in every example at the rate of configuration. So this at the rate
Right.
of configuration annotation is required whenever you are creating a particular bean inside your application. And second annotation is at the rate of enable Swagger 2. So Swagger initially came with the version 1, but that was not very efficient and having some bugs and issue. So they have introduced the enable Swagger 2, Swagger 2 version, which is highly performance wise good, and it is stable also. So these two annotation we have to add. Then Swagger is asking you have to create one bean for docket. So this docket is coming from the Swagger dependency which you have added. How we can create a docket? Look at this, return new docket. Documentation type, there is a different version. You can select any of them, but I have selected the Swagger 2. Let's see what are the other
Okay.
options. Swagger 12, Swagger Wave, all these things are there, but let it be Swagger 2. Then after, it will ask you, can you tell me where exactly the base package is? So my base package is com.nic. So I have given the com.nic. Then it will be asking me couple of more dependencies related to their API, but one information you have to give related to your API information. What is that? This get API information is basically having if something went wrong inside your application, that to whom I have to contact. So there is a class called contact class. Create a contact class object, pass the details here, and then after return the API info builder object to this particular docket. So this is pretty simple. In every application, you have to give this couple of information. What is your base package and to whom I have to contact when something went wrong. These all are the description. If you want, you can add. If you don't want, you can skip that. With that, you are done with the Swagger configuration. But what I want now is the moment somebody is hitting the home page, I want to bring them to the Swagger page. So this is the additional requirement I have. This is nowhere related to Swagger configuration, but what I want, somebody is coming to my home page, immediately they will be redirected to the Swagger page. So what we can do for that, that's the reason I have created one more configuration, and this configuration is implementing with Wave MVC configurer. So if you look at this implementation, I'm saying if somebody is trying to hit home page, then automatically redirect them to the swagger-ui.html. So when I demonstrate you, I will show you this. So whenever you have certain kinds of requirement, if somebody is trying to hit the Citibank credit card details, so what exactly you have to do? Immediately you have to redirect them to the Citibank website. So how we are going to do that? This is where we are doing called Web MVC configurer, which is having one unimplemented method called add view controller. So whatever view you have, you can add here. This is the requirement because I want somebody is coming to home page, he will be redirected to the Swagger page. This is what we have did. After that, you have at the rate of Swagger definition. These all are optional. On the each REST API, you just mention API operation. What is this operation all about? Similarly, let's talk about this get students. So I'm saying at the rate of API operation, and this method is responsible for get all students. Similarly, at the rate of API operation, get a student by name. So if you look at now, once your configuration is done, then in each controller on each REST API, you just have to mention at the rate of API operation, nothing else, and give some description what exactly it is going to do. So it's pretty simple, guys. Trust me, Swagger is one of the important part. You should know when you are working on a REST API, then it's kinds of mandatory things now these days people want the Swagger implementation. Swagger is mainly coming in Spring Boot to provide you documentation of your REST API. So let's try running this application and see what's happening. Let me see the port number. So we have port number 8090. And I'm going to run Swagger application. Uh, it's running. It's already running. Let me rerun Java application. Okay, so hoping it's started running. Now what I'm gonna do is I will be hitting localhost 8090. Look at this. I'm just hitting 8090 and immediately I came to this page. How this magic
All
happened?
right.
Because of this configuration. So if you want to see again, if you want to see, If you want to see it, let me just type 8090 and immediately I will be redirected to swaggerui.html. I'm not putting swaggerui.html. If you don't
Okay.
have this configuration, then you will be still on home page only. But my requirement is if somebody is hitting the home page, I want to redirect them to this UI. And this UI is nothing but Swagger UI. That's all. Whatever contact details you have added, look at this. This is the contact developer. If you click on that, automatically the email ID will be selected. You can put your mobile number, other details. And I have only one controller. So Swagger to demo REST controller. This part is coming from your Swagger configuration again. Demo for Swagger, and under the controller I have added demo for Swagger. So Swagger 2 demo REST controller. Click on this. You're gonna get all the possible REST API endpoints here itself. You don't need to open the Postman for testing your REST API. For example, I want to get all student. So here is the get all student. Click on this. This guy will tell you that, hey, you will be getting response as a 200. This is the response body type. You will be getting the class, country name, something like this. And these are the further information. If you click on try it out, it is going to give you the all possible student details coming from your REST API. It is also giving you for Linux machine. This is the API link. This is the end URL. What kind of headers it is coming. What kind of response header it is coming. These all information you're gonna get from REST API. This is very nice features, trust me, guys. Understanding
Mm.
or not?
Yes.
Yes,
So
sir.
the main reason I'm focusing here is to know what is Swagger and what is the use of that. If you have a little bit doubt on the configuration side, let's ignore for a timing. It's not very important to understand the each and every configuration right now in very clear way. You can still wait. Whenever you are working on a real-time project, you can do that. You can learn it. This is how people learn in the industry. Whatever example I given to you, it's not
Mm.
possible for anyone to remember all the things. So never ever disappoint, never ever make your confidence low, because each developer who is working right now in the industry, they are not come up with this kinds of training. To be very frank, you guys are taking a training. It will be a much more advantage when you will be working on a real-time project. But in
Correct.
industry,
Yeah.
you should know at least what is Swagger, right? When to use Swagger. If you know only two
Mm.
things, then there is a lots of tutorial available in the internet. Let's say for a timing you are not able to access my repository from Git. See how simple it is. I will be going and typing Swagger Spring Boot example. Just type like this. See, lots of things are coming. Let's click on this Java in use Swagger to simple hello world example. This guy is giving you lots of theory and all. That's the reason I didn't mention lots of theory, because lots of websites are there. What is Swagger? They have a video also. You can see there's a Swagger configuration. What are the dependencies they have added? Each step by step, line by line, you can get it from here. And finally, if you
Great.
scroll down, it is saying if you click on this link, you're gonna get something like this. How simple it is. So never ever be disappointed. Think like that. I understood the concept. Configuration, no need to understand. It's not very important. If you try remembering all these things right now, you might be losing the main content. But yes, flow wise, you have to be clear. When I'm teaching you, you should not have a little bit doubt, like how this is
Mm.
happening. I told you, like when I'm hitting the local host slash, it is immediately coming to the Swagger UI. How? This is the question you're supposed to be get clarity. I told you this is why we have added one more configurator called Web MVC configurator. Now, what you have to get away from this concept is, if you have some requirement like user is hitting one URL and I have to internally redirect him to the other URL, then you can use
Mm.
this. I will tell you one more
Okay.
business case. Many times many company used to change their website. Are you getting my point? So let's say today I have a abc.com, and going for in future I want to all users should come to the xyz.com. I have renamed my website because of my company
Okay.
name has changed. How we can do that? Whoever is my old user, he is still coming to abc.com, right? And what I will do, the moment I will get abc.com, I will just redirect them to the xyz.com. How we can do that? With this concept, right? So you're
Okay.
supposed to
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
this concept, not how we are doing. What is this web MVC configured, all these things you can learn later. But yes, there is a concept in the Spring Boot too for each requirement that you have to remember. Understanding or not?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Shana, clear?
Yes, yes, it's clear.
What about you, Vasvi? Getting the concept?
Yes, a little bit.
Okay, cool. So this is how, guys, the swagger is. I want you to practice on this. If you have any doubt and question, please raise it to me. Okay, let's move ahead.
Yes.
The next topic I would like to discuss here is Spring security, which is one of the very, very important concepts. Spring security.
Security.
Okay, so let's talk about Spring security. Why we need a Spring security? So a Spring security is not a part of only a Spring Boot. It is a part of a Spring framework. So Spring framework has come up with the idea of Spring security, and I don't want to discuss a lot like why we need security, because you know that security is something very, very important for everyone. In fact, if you are in your home, then you used to put your lock. Why? Because you want to protect some resources. Inside our software world also, one side there is a good people, other side there is a bad people, and these bad people is known as a hackers, right? They are trying to access the resource in unauthorized way, and that's where we need to secure our application. One sec, guys. So Spring Security is mainly dealing with the two things, authentication and authorization. So if you understand these two terms, then it will be very easy for you to follow the any security related framework, not only Spring Security or any framework. Without Spring Security, people used to develop these two module in their application. One is authentication, other one is the authorization. Let's try understanding what is authentication and what is authorization. Authentication is something which is talking to you and asking you, who are you? Whether you are a valid user of this system or not. That's called authentication. And for authentication purpose, we have our username, password, OTP, biometric. Lots of things are there for the authentication purpose. So it is just checking whether the particular user who has logged in into my system who is a valid user or not. Authorization. Authorization is something even though you are a valid user, but you have rights to access the particular request or not. Now let's try understanding with the example. In industry, we have a different layer of users: employee, manager, HR, VP, CEO, right? So these are the different layer of users you have in your industry. Whatever access your HR is having, you might not have that access, right? Even though you are a right user of that system, you are a part of that company, you log in with your credential, but you are trying to access the salary of a particular employee, will you be able to get it? Answer is no. Why? Because you are not authorized. You have been authenticated. The moment you will try clicking on that get salary, what will be? The system will check whether you are a right user or not. Yes, you have logged in with the username and password, but internally system will check that whether you have that rights or not. If you have that rights, you are welcome. If you not, then you will be getting the 403. Remember, not 4, not 4. 403. 403 is saying you are unauthorized. You will be not able to access that. So just now I shown you, if you look at this example, 401, I'm sorry, 401, that's a unauthorized. So whenever you are getting 401, remember your authorization is failed. Your authentication is success, but your authorization is failed. So now you can easily understand what is the use of this authentication and authorization. If you understand the difference between these two, it will be very easy for you to understand the further examples. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Any
Yes,
question?
sir.
No question.
So
Now,
authorization is 401. Authentication is just to see if particular user is valid or not.
yeah, you will simply say if you go for your authorization authentication is failed, you'll be simply getting invalid credential, login failed,
Okay.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Great.
But authorization is failed, it means you will be getting 401 and it will clearly tell you are not
Mm.
authorized to access this resource. Simple.
Okay.
Now, if you are in a Spring Boot, it's very simple to enable the security. You know how? Any application, in fact, the Hello World application also. What you need to do is you just go to this pom.xml file and add the right now. Let me run this application. It's just a Hello World application and see how Spring Boot people has make our world, our life so easy. I'm not going to talk about this guy is having the Hello World, lots of things, but very simple. Just having the request mapping slash and hello to all. Let me build this. Maven clean. Maven install. Okay. Now we have a demo application. Let me run this. Oh, there's something wrong in this application. I don't know. Whenever you are getting the class, something like this, J, remember there is something wrong in this. And what is wrong? It's having not even the proper project itself. This is, let me pick up other one. You remember last class we were developing the Spring CRUD, right? So under this,
Right.
we were running the Spring CRUD application.java, and I'm hoping I was having one hello also. Yes, we have a hello. So let me run this application and see what's happening. So we have 8080 and the controller is hello. So we'll reach to here 8080 slash hello, and it's saying it's working. Now I want to enable the Spring security in this application. See what I'm going to do. Just go to the Chrome or any browser and just type Spring Boot security dependency. If you're downloading from the IO initializer, then you can directly type the security and it will be coming to you. But if you're not, then just copy this dependency. Only one dependency I'm adding here. Go to your pom.xml file and anywhere under the dependency, just paste it. Okay. After doing that, stop that instance, do a maven clean once, run as maven clean, because this new dependency have to be download the all jars. I did nothing than adding the dependency. So it's downloading the jars. Just wait for timing. Okay, it is done. Run as maven install once. Let the installation also complete. What happened? Rerun JRE. Why I'm running on JRE? Right click, properties, Java build path. This one, select this JDK, finish, apply and close. This is not very related to your Spring security. There was some configuration change in my Eclipse. Run it again. Okay, now go here and just refresh the page which you have developed. I didn't written any logic right now other than adding dependency. OMG. See, automatically security is enabled now. You
Right.
don't need to do anything. This default login page even coming from the Spring security. I didn't design this HTML page. It is asking me to give the username and password. The default username and password is user itself, and what is the password. So if your Spring security is added inside your class path, which is your dependency, then automatically you will notice inside your console, the password has been printed here. Can you see this?
Okay.
So you
Yeah.
just copy this, username is user itself, and password is already generated. So here I'm going to paste my password. And now click on login, it's working. Getting the point? So
Yes.
Spring Boot people has made your life very easy with minimal and no configuration. The moment you have added the Spring security inside your pom.xml file, Spring Boot understood user wants the security to be enabled. And security is enabled because of that, it's coming username and password, that is your login page by default. Now think about how this is working. It is again working like an interceptor. You remember interceptor work? Any request is coming to your controller. Interceptor is intercepting that request and bringing whatever logic they want. So internally, Spring Security is also using the lots of interceptor, lots of filter. That is the reason whenever any request is, I'm hitting, let's again run this. I'm going to hit /hello. But somebody is coming in middle and saying, oh, hold on. This application is having the authentication. So it doesn't matter whatever you are hitting. I have to first go. See, this is hello now. Let's refresh this. Automatically your hello has changed to login because that's the magic of interceptor. Interceptor found
Correct.
Spring security is enabled. User has not went through the login page. There is no session created for user. It means what? User has not yet login. So doesn't matter whatever request you are doing, home page, hello, whatever, it is going to intercept and first bringing the login URL to you. So my hello, I am typing here hello, but it is changing to login. Why? Because of interceptor. But that interceptor you don't need to write. Spring people are already taking care internally. If you want to enable a Spring security inside your application, then please just add one dependency and your default username and password will be coming here. Now, question is coming, can I change this username and password? Yes, you can do it. How can we do that? Let's go to the documentation of all the properties. If you remember, I shown you, right? The all properties are there. So I will be going here and writing a Spring Boot security properties. Okay, just click on this. You will be going to get a link from the Spring Boot site. Just click on that. Where is that? Yes, this is your Spring Boot properties. Just search for security properties. It is saying if you want to change your default username and password, then there is something called a Spring Security username. I will be finding it here. Look at this. Can you see that? Just copy this, go to your application, and here you just type it here. Whatever username you want to give that. And similarly for password also. So go to the password wala part, take this, bring to your properties file, whatever password you want to put, just put it like this. Okay, and you are done.
Yeah.
Now Spring will not use the default username and password. Spring is going to use now your defined username and password. Let's run this and see whether it's working or not. Yeah, refresh the page. Still login is coming. If I give anything else, click on enter. Look at this, bad credential. It means you're not providing the correct one. Give ABC and XYZ. Sign in. Now you are logged in. Now you can put /hello. It will be working. Understood or not? So now question is
Yes.
there. Everything is possible with the help of application.properties. And that's the reason people are now crazy about Spring Boot, because it's not asking you lots of complexity. But same thing if you do in the pure Spring security project, trust me guys, you have to spend lots of time. If you want to go for the Spring security, then again, I will suggest you go to my Git repo. In my Git repo, there is a separate repository created for Spring security. So if you are interested to know more about Spring security, then I will suggest you look at my Spring security tutorial. Spring security is
Okay.
itself a separate project. Look at this is the hello world example with XML. Then you have to go to src main. You have to create XML files. Look at this Spring security. Under this, you have to write lots of logic related to security. Then again, come back. You have to write some logic inside your web.xml file. See, so these all are configuration required if you are plain using a Spring security without a Spring Boot. And that's where you have to use all the filters I was talking, right? Interceptor and filters. These all are coming here only. So if you have a time, please go through that. But if you're using only Spring security in a Spring Boot, you don't need to do anything. You have to put the username and password inside your application or properties and add your dependency in your pom.xml file. But question is coming, is this the way we are going to do authentication inside our Spring security, putting our username and password in the properties file? Answer is no. Anybody can read this and start using our application. In real time, our details are going to be stored into the database, right? So instead of picking the username and password from here, we are going to use the username and password from database. While registration time, we are asking the user to put username and password, and same username password is going to be encrypted, especially the password is going to be encrypted before storing into the database. And when you are going to put your password for a login purpose, it is going to be decrypted. I have a timer started, so after 3 minutes, this session will be disconnected. So please rejoin. Okay. Now, I'm just going to remove this security from here because it's not for security purpose. From application to properties also, I'm going to remove this. That's all. The moment you remove the Spring security from your pom.xml file, your application becomes plain application without a Spring security. But now let's talk about the Spring security quite in deeper. How we can do with our own login page. If you have not notice Spring is bringing you the default login page. You have a very simple login page designed like username and password. But in real time, people don't want to use the default one. They want to bring their own login page, which is more fancy and more better. Better. There is one library called ThemeLeaf. ThemeLeaf is one of the library. I'm pretty sure you guys have not heard about it. It is just like a JSP. You remember the JSP, Java server page, where we were writing the HTML code also and
Yeah.
the Java code also. I given you in the beginning of our servlet
Yeah.
tutorial. So ThemeLeaf is also one of the very good library which is dealing with the especially Java template engine. So now this day I can notice that many industry is using the ThemeLeaf because of their popularity. So I am using the ThemeLeaf in this application for our UI purpose. So now come to the pom.xml file. We have what? We have a ThemeLeaf. We have security, Spring Security ThemeLeaf 4 version. That's all. So two libraries I have mainly added. One is for security and two others are for ThemeLeaf. Here I'm going to enable our Spring Security, and in real time how it is going to be work. So you have to notice. Let's see. After that, under the application.properties file, I have nothing. The only thing I want, whenever any logs are printing related to security, that should also print the debug level. So if you learn about the logger framework, we have an info, we have a debug, we have a warning, we have an error. So in last class, I already shown you in our Spring CRUD example, if you remember, under the controller, we were using the logger. See, logger purpose. Why